Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show, featuring Steve and Karen Wilson, owners and innkeepers of the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast. Welcome, everybody. You know, June is the great outdoors month, and we love that because, you know what, when you go to Asheville, North Carolina, yes, it's a beautiful historic city, awesome downtown and art scene, you name it. But one of the coolest things about Asheville is that you've got the Blue Ridge Mountains, Blue Ridge Parkway, one of the most visited national park units in the country. You've got the Smoky Mountains National Park. You've got Pisgah National Forest. You've got the North Carolina Arboretum. I mean, I could go on, but it is absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's full of nature. One of the most biodiverse regions that we can explore. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about hiking, putting on those boots, those shoes. I don't know if you want to do it barefoot. Maybe you do. I don't know. I know some people who barefoot hike, and that's kind of fun. But we've got, of course, Steve and Karen, Mr. and Mrs. Wild from the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast. They're in the Montford Historic District in Asheville, over 600 historic homes. And we were just there 2 days ago from this recording and got to spend the night. Nancy and I had a great time with them. Karen bakes things that really demand that you need to go for a hike after you have them. Steve brews incredible home craft brews that, again, demand that you go for a walk or a hike afterwards. Then they have awesome pups that greet you at the door, the innkeeper dogs. And it's just a wonderful place with a wonderful garden that you can hang out in. And this is that time of year. And their garden is a certified national wildlife habitat, which is really cool for all of us nature-loving peeps. So, and sometimes you may see a bear wander through. So welcome, Steve and Karen. Welcome back. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I love asking both of you at the same time so you can answer in unison. This is the best way to do a podcast. But no, I love it. You guys, it was so cool for Nancy and I both to see you again. I know it was a short overnight, but it was, oh my gosh. And you've been redoing some of your rooms. The room we were in, Karen, is like new paint, and it just was like, wow, man. It's so cool because I think what's so great about it, and you know, I think we've stayed in every single room now. I think
so.
Pretty much.
Yep.
And each room, I mean, you're a Victorian mansion, not you guys personally, but the actual inn is a Victorian mansion with this beautiful garden. You're in a historic district, kind of city-like, but you don't feel like it. It's quiet at night. And you've got the stairs that creak, which we love. It's like, hey, yes, this is a home. It was a family home. And when you go in each room, it's still that Victorian feel, but it's modern. It's fresh. Your Wi-Fi is awesome. I actually uploaded podcast videos like while I'm in the room. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks for the cake. Now I have to go do work. And thank you for the cake. It helps. But it is really quite amazing. Do you get a lot of people that come there and say, okay, we're coming for a nature experience, but we still want to kind of get out of the dirt for a little bit and have some garden time and then downtown time and have that balance of everything. Do you get that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what most people are looking for, just because there's so much to do here.
And hiking is a huge deal because you have so much. It's not like you just have a few trails. Like, oh, let me go take a trail. You have I can't even think about how many trails you have in your backyard. You could go one trail just for waterfalls, a trail for wildflowers, mushrooms, you know how I am. All of that. It's like, how do you even choose? And then you have to look at, you know, how athletic are you? How much time you have? What's the weather doing? How close are you? And you guys are accessible. It's amazing. You've shown us waterfalls just down the road from you, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So,
it is.
It's exciting. So everyone, lion-rose.com is a place to go to when you start to go on a hiking adventure in Asheville. But we've got a new friend, Jenny or Jennifer Grun. Oh my gosh, I should have asked her last name, how to pronounce it, because I like to give everyone a new language. She is the owner and biologist of Asheville Hiking Tours. You can go to AshevilleHikingTours.com. And when you get on there, you're going to be sucked in. And then you know you need to go to Asheville. So welcome, Jenny. How are you?
Doing great. And you pronounce my last name better than I do.
Oh, wow. That's
Good
a rare
job.
one. It must have been all that beer Steve gave us the other night. Yeah. He's got the Dirty Godiva beer. Am I allowed to say the Dirty Godiva anymore? What do you call the Dirty Godiva? Like it's chocolate stout?
Well, we are calling it that now.
Yeah, because it is a Dirty Godiva. It's deliciously dark chocolate stout that if you drink that, it's going to give you enough vitamins to go on a hike.
There you go.
I'm just saying. I don't know if Jenny wants to take you on a hike if you've done that. But anyway, Jenny,
no, hereafter.
We're used to it.
Yeah. Well, you're in Beer City, USA. And to me, it's only fitting that an innkeeper serves you a beer when you step in. It's like, please give me, I love that. I've been driving for hours or flying with delays. And then you're welcomed with, here, would you like a beer? Oh, and by the way, you got free parking and a garden, and we've got dogs if you like dogs to hang out with, little Shih Tzus. Did I say that? Shih Tzus that will greet you.
Aww.
And it's awesome.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Every time we come back there, I just am like, oh, I know why we did this podcast with you. You know, we both are like,
I'm blushing.
Yeah, no, it is. It's awesome. Jenny, tell us a little bit of the beginning of Asheville Hiking Tours. You know, because I know now before we recorded, we talked about biology and all of us going in school and doing biology class and frogs, and we don't want to go there. But what led you to the world of biology and then hiking?
Yeah, you know, it does start with some courses that I was teaching when I was a PhD student. So in graduate school, I was teaching a lot of field biology, and I noticed how much these college students loved getting out in the woods and learning. It didn't feel like a grueling course. It was just fun. And I was looking at what career moves I would take at the end of grad school, and I was like, why aren't we just teaching field biology to adults for fun? Like, why not keep this going? And so it was my last year of graduate school, I started to plan this business. And yeah, it started Asheville Hiking Tours. I guess it was 8 years ago now. And so that's a lot of what we do. We not only hike, but we interpret the woods. We bring them to life, you know, have lots of natural history and Cherokee history, flora, fauna of the mountains on our tours.
That's awesome because when you hike, I mean, that's, you know, Nancy and I travel, document parks and public lands, but when you go on a hike, that's interpreted, or at least you have a few signs that go, well, this is the tree you're looking at. You know, like when we were in the sequoias, we had a lot of park rangers take us out and forest rangers. And so we'd see these pine cones and they're these tiny ones. And then you'd have a sugar pine next to a sequoia tree and then the cedars. And you had to learn the difference. And this, obviously the sequoias are the massive, I mean, they're the world's largest, you know, tree and all of that and in volume, and living thing in volume. And you're looking this like, oh my God, you know, and then they're like, well, here's the sequoia tree pine cone. And it's so small. It fits in the palm of your hand, not even to your fingers. You're like, no. And they're like, yeah. And here's the sugar pine. And the sugar pine is this big, like, look at me.
It's big.
And I'm like, dude, that thing's been eating a lot of sugar. That's why it's so big. But, you know, it's like, what's going, you know, so you wouldn't know that unless you went to the visitor center. And now the visitor center, I think those are amazing things that people should go to get their, like a little bit of something and take those little field guides with you. But when you have an interpreter, especially on your first time, take you, it becomes more personalized. I don't know if it's storytelling, what it is, that it's the information soaks in better to me when someone's actually showing you something. Have you seen that, Jenny, in your hikes where that happens to people?
Yeah, I mean, I hire only naturalists because we find that the guests just get this tremendous amount of connection with the natural world. And like you've heard this thing, forest bathing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a recent term, and just like really connecting and immersing themselves out in nature while we're hiking is really our niche in the industry. I mean, there's some companies around that, take people out and sightsee, but ours is really about interpreting the world and not just gleaning the beauty of it. Yeah, so of course, we have over 500,000 acres to access. As you were saying, around Asheville, we're a hotbed of protected lands, not only national park system, but national forest system. So this is a great place to have a business like this.
Well, how does, like when I was talking about at the beginning, because when I think, Steve and Karen, like they'll talk to us and like, oh, this is the hike to do today because of this amount of time or accessibility and all of that. So Innkeeper is always awesome that way. That's why we love in bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
But they actively do it. They're not just an innkeeper that went when they first bought the inn. They did it yesterday,
Oh, yeah, actively.
literally. And you guys saw salamanders and I'm like a little, jealous. Sorry, but now I'm going to have to go play salamander just splunking around here in Burnsville. But, when you think about that much acreage, right? When someone comes in, Jenny, is that something that you do day hikes where someone calls you and say, hey, this is, me and my wife or spouse or partner, or it's a girls hike or just a couple. I know you guys do groups, so we can get into that. But what about for people now, like just maybe a solo person? They'll come stay at Steve and Karen's and go, I want to take a hike, but I've never done it before. I'm scared because of snakes, because honest to God, know so many people scared of snakes. And I'm like, you guys have the coolest snakes here. You have water snakes and all of that. But if they're scared, I think a guide is so good because a guide you kind of feel like they know what to do if something happens. And I swear to God, like whenever there's a guide or a park ranger, I'm like, all right, you guys get to deal with that. Not me. If I'm leading it, I'm not leading it. I don't want to know. But there's a fear factor for people coming out of an area that don't know a region. For some, I don't know if you've experienced that part, but that's part of what we get, why we do what we do in some of our outlets. And we even have a 1 hour walk Facebook group just to get people to take a walk, even if it's their neighborhood, to get them to understand that you can go in forests and public lands, national parks, and there's a place for everybody's ability in walking. You don't need to be the wilderness backpacker for 2 weeks to be able to go these places. So that's where I'm going with this, with you taking day hikes, and what accessibility and athleticism do we have to have?
Yeah, good question. So I would say that most people are giving us a call because they are a little afraid to head out on their own. Whether it's because they're going to lose cell service, they're afraid of driving the windy mountain roads to the ridgeline, on the Blue Ridge Parkway, there's not a lot of guardrails, or they're afraid of bears. We do have copperheads and rattlesnakes, and our guides, we literally know where their nests are because we hike the trail so much. We know where we're going to see them. So yeah, all these fear factors, it's a big reason why people tend to call us. And you're right, we do take 1-person tours, 2-person tours, like private tours, oftentimes. But our focus is really on like the small groups where we keep it intimate, but people get to know each other and chat in our tour vehicles. We have a fleet of 3 vehicles, and so yeah, like I think the sweet spot is like a 6 to 9-person group size where people can socialize, but still have an intimate experience in the woods.
So when that happens, is it a group that they have to call you with the group, or do you have regularly scheduled hikes for people?
Yeah, we have regularly scheduled mixed groups, so different people who don't know each other come on the same tour. And that's for our like really standard waterfalls and Blue Ridge Parkway tour. We have an easy version and moderate version of this waterfalls and Blue Ridge Parkway tour. And then generally
this is getting a little romantic. I'm just saying, you never know. They say you're going to meet your match on the, I'm just saying.
We think we've done this before. There's quite a few
What?
singles on these tours. Yeah, there's a lot of single people on the tours. But then, of course, yeah, we do the private tours as well. And, you know, there's love on those tours as well. We've been there for wedding vows and yeah, engagements and such. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, hiking.
Cool.
That's the ultimate thing. Like, you know, these big fancy wedding things and closed spaces to me, let's do the outdoors wedding. Like that to me,
Absolutely.
like yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah, it sounds like if I hear a frog go off, I'm like, yes, I'm happy. You know, I want to hear the birds. I mean, if something comes and snips my tiara off, I'm like, that's even better. You know, not that I would ever wear a tiara, but I might just for fun if it's Rocky Horror Picture Show time. But, you know, it's really cool I think the outdoors to be connected that way in our life celebrations in an environmentally sustainable and clean way that doesn't hurt Earth, to be able to do that. And is that part of also with what you're doing with the hiking tours? Do you bring up sustainability and how to hike and how not to hike? Because some people do go bundu bashing when they shouldn't, and hurt things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. So we practice ecotourism in the sense that we are giving a decent portion of our money back to the national forests and the national park management by being permitted and giving them a percentage back. We keep our groups small. Even for our big conference tours, like 50 people, we divide those large groups into these tiny subgroups, and we provide multiple guides so that we keep, you know, a low impact with these small groups on the trails. And of course, we stay on trail, all these basic leave no trace practices. And then there's many more practices for example, our Blue Ghost Firefly tours. We have to submit a separate set of practices for those tours because the blue ghosts are so sensitive.
Oh, what? Tell us about those. What's a blue ghost?
Yeah. So in this region, we have at least 30 species of fireflies. A lot of people think there's one main species of firefly, but actually these beetles are is a really diverse group of lightning bugs or fireflies. And so two of them around here are extremely rare and incredible. One of those is the synchronous firefly. Many people go to Great Smoky Mountains National Park to view those. But we actually see them on our tours as well. Not as much, though, as the blue ghost fireflies. Blue ghosts hover over the ground within about 2 or 3 feet of the ground. And they're more like a flying glowworm because they fly really poorly. And it makes them eerie looking because they're so slow and hovering kind of around your feet.
Oh, better for photography, though, right? Photograph them?
Yeah. We do. That's one of the leave no trace things we do. We don't allow photography on these tours because these insects are so sensitive to even tiny amounts of light. It actually disrupts their mating. So we provide red. Yeah, we provide red flashlights. And so, you know, maybe folks can photograph them with a red flashlight, but yeah, we don't do anything
flash photography.
You know, we walk real slowly on the trail and take in the fireflies in like this really zen way.
Well, isn't it also when they're showing their light? It's kind of like the male showing his butt off and going, look at me to the female when he's doing the light.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. It's the males that are the showy ones, and the females are buried in the leaf litter, and they're flashing, but the human eye doesn't really pick them up. Except for this one genus, Photurus, that has the femme fatale. So those female fireflies, they actually attract the males of all these other species, and then they eat the males.
Oh, wow. Get out there.
A lot of cool firefly biology out there.
Yeah, that's funny. I did not know that. Well, that stuff's so cool. Like, do you have carnivorous plants out here? Because, like, I don't know. I just feel like you could because it gets humid and swampy like in here, but you're not
We
swampy
do.
swamp. Do you?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we have carnivorous plants. Yeah. So we have sundews, which are kind of
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
your Venus flytraps on the coast. So we get sundews mostly in the Panthertown area or like boggy areas, and then as well as pitcher plants.
Oh, I
Both of
love the
those can
pitcher
capture
plants.
insects.
Oh, that's right. I've seen them at the
Mhm.
Arboretum. I should have known. Yeah. The pitcher
Yeah.
plants. I
Yep.
was explaining that to somebody on a show and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, pitcher
So
plants
are
grow. They just
those,
kind of open up
I got
and
a
then they
question.
suck them up. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Would you consider that Jack of the Pulpit? Would that be a pitcher plant, or does that just look like one?
It looks like one. Yeah, that's
Okay.
just the space and spadix that in that family kind of looks like one.
Gotcha.
No.
Okay.
Good question.
All right.
Huh. Well, I want to know what that is now. What's a Jack in the Pulpit? Like, does it look like a pitcher plant?
Yeah, it's
It
this
does.
Yeah.
it looks like a very tropical plant. It's a common family in the tropics called the aroid family, and we don't have a lot of it around here. But this pitcher plant, yeah, it has this kind of cupped base around the group of flowers, and it looks like an insect could fall in it, but it doesn't eat them.
Oh,
As far as I
No, what
know, I don't think so.
well, Steve and
cool
Karen,
looking.
you guys went on hiking yesterday and you got like, is that the pink slipper flower? Then am I
Yeah,
getting the right
the
name?
pink lady slipper. Pink
Oh,
lady slipper.
oh, see,
Mhm.
that would go well with your bed and breakfast, you know. Cinderella may come
Sure.
through town. You never know on a trolley. You know, that's
On a troll.
is a pink lady slipper more of a spring plant or like a year-round kind of plant that you see in bloom? What,
Yeah,
Jenny,
it's
do you
just
know?
gonna.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Yeah, it's just gonna. It's not year round. Yeah, it's gonna be more of your springtime.
Well, let's
Yeah,
look
the
at
ones we saw
summer.
are pretty much spent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
Today
were just
I
about
saw
done.
all kinds of like daisy kind of flowers and stuff today. And but once I was in the woods, you know, hiking with you know, Lucy the dog, it was just so green. And so last fall we were here and there were so many mushrooms, and now I'm not seeing as much because it's so shaded. So I don't know, Jenny, what is the cycle of mushrooms in on hikes for
Ooh,
people to
yeah.
understand? Because the mushroom cycle, I'm so I'm one of those people that don't pick them because and I know they don't hurt. It's like eating fruit, right? It's like if you cut a vegetable, you've cut the vegetable, you've hurt the vegetable. That's right, vegetarians. You're cutting the vegetable, you're hurting them. But fruit, they don't feel anything, right? So I don't know. But no matter what, we leave an imprint. No matter what we do, you can be vegan, you can be as clean as you want. And if you want to eat all the fruit and you want, but eventually you are still doing something. So it's about mindfulness, right? And not overdoing things. So mushrooms, I was like, people are like, pick the mushroom up. And I'm like, when I was trying to photograph it on Facebook groups and get IDs, people are like, you need to just pick it up so we can see. And I'm like, I'm not pulling it out. It's a mushroom. It's
No.
growing. It's happy. But then I heard like, no, it's fine to do it. It's like the fruit. You're not hurting it. But I still feel that way. I feel weird about touch. I do, but I know that there's mushroom hunting and eating, and that's kind of like an environmentally friendly thing and good for us food wise, you know?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you're not hurting them by picking them. However, I have heard two different philosophies from two different experts. One person saying that you should really use a knife to cut them from the base, and one person saying it doesn't matter because it doesn't destroy the network underneath the mushroom. So yeah, there's two different ideas about whether or not this mycelium network underneath the mushroom is altered by pulling it off from the base versus cutting it. But go for it. Eat them as long as you know what they are. They're wonderful. And yeah, you were asking about like the cycle, the mushrooms, spores disperse spores meet and then build this mycelial network or mycelium, which is kind of like this magical network underneath our trees that we really pay so little attention to, yet is so, so important. And then mushrooms grow off of this network. So it's still there even if you pick the mushroom.
Well, and they've been there pre-dinosaurs. I mean, this is pretty much one of our most ancient living things, are mushrooms in the world. Like, really. They're so ancient.
Yeah, they're
and healing and clean. Aren't they? They clean things. They're like the vultures of the forest in a way, with what they do. But the cycles I wanted to know is like what, like let's look at summer, because this is airing in June. So let's look at summer and early fall. What can people expect in the forest? We were talking about the flowers and everything. What kind of things would they expect to see hiking around the Asheville area in regards to, wildlife, botany, mushroomies? That's my new thing. That's its own genus.
Yeah. So the common ones that people love around here are, of course, your chanterelles and your what are they called? Oh my God. Morels, of course, morel mushrooms, chanterelles. You got like honey mushrooms and boletes, chicken of the woods.
The chicken of the woods are those big ones.
Out there.
Yeah, some of them look like pancakes.
Yeah.
Some mushrooms out here look like massive pancakes.
Yeah,
they
can get really big, and there's really only a few that you need to avoid. And yeah, just disclaimer: my specialty is not mushrooms, but I have taken mushroom courses. Technically, I can forage for restaurants because I passed this forage certification. But honestly, you don't want to eat mushrooms. I think
I don't. See, to me, I'm not eating anything that in the forest because I have no clue. But I find them so fascinating and beautiful because there's mushrooms. You talk to them the one day, and then you go back and they've got a punk hairdo with little spores coming out of them, and you're like, you changed in like not even 24 hours, and you're going away and you're changing. Like I really like to see you on my walks, but now you're going, and I didn't even recognize you, because they do go punk. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. So to me, that's the thing of hiking and seeing all these different colors. You've got blues and purples and black mushrooms, and you've got like all these different colors, yellow, bright yellow. And it depends on what time you see them on their life scale. And it's like so cool to see because you don't see this everywhere. I mean, I came out of the Southwest, so seeing this was like, I'm in heaven. I missed, I love the Southwest because the desert Southwest is also incredibly biodiverse. But for people that don't live here every day, it's pretty amazing to see this kind of mushroom vegetation. I don't remember seeing this much. Maybe this is a Southeast thing, but it's incredible. But then the flowers in the forest, how are those happening? Because they don't get that much sunlight, but they do. They do happen. And so, in summer, what are they going to see? What are people going to see flower wise? Like azaleas, are they still going to be going or no? Is it a different?
Yeah. Late May and June, great time to see the azaleas, the rhododendrons. Those are very popular. But we have flowering plants all through the summer. I mean, that's the neat thing about biodiversity to this level, everything is finding its niche in the woods. We say niche in ecology, by the way, not niche. So the ecological niche, that all these different birds and plants are filling. You mentioned flowers, there's flowers that specialize in shady environments and being pollinated by insects and not by wind, and so they're going to be okay in that deep cove forest hidden away from the wind, you know?
And
Yeah, and
ferns.
our biodiversity, yeah, ferns, yeah, I mean, we really, speaking of just our biodiversity, you know, we owe so much of it, as you said, to the old age of this area, the mountains. This area was never glaciated. It gets precipitation almost equal to that of the rainforest. And then, other reasons why we're so biodiverse, of course, a warm, humid climate, and then the elevation gradients of this area. You know, there's so many different niches to fill across the mountainside, because every 1,000 feet you gain in elevation, the temperature goes up 3 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we kind of have little Canada, like islands in the sky at the tops of the mountains, where you get a completely different climate. You get a boreal type forest, that which you would see in Canada and Scandinavia. And
maybe that's why I feel
so driving.
Yeah, it's just because I always feel like we're in a rainforest. Well, because Kenya, I mean, we were on the equator, so it's a lot hotter. But I always say, like, Nancy and I get here, it's like, oh, we're like in a rainforest. And it was raining yesterday. I'm like, this is so beautiful and magical. And you can hear, there's more water here now than I remember. And where we are, there's like this creek just flowing massively. Like you can hear it at night, and you're like, I'm going to sleep like a baby. And I did. And and that's this thing about, these places that you can go out. And I think for a lot of people, being able to see even a creek with a little waterfall is not something you always see every day, especially if you're living in a city. And a lot of times, those kind of things are man-made too, you know, in a city conflict. And I'm not knocking him, but I'm just saying, when you see nature at work in the Smoky Mountain area, Blue Ridge Mountains, all of that, it's just this, it's just, there's nothing like it in the rest of this country at all. It's just not. It's powerful being out there. We recommend everybody to try it, whether with us or with anybody, you know, come and experience these woods. They're really powerful. Do you do anything in winter, or is that mostly spring through fall?
No, we do year-round tours for sure. Wow. A lot of people prefer hiking in the winter because, you know, the leaves aren't on the trees, and so you get these incredible views even through the woods while you're hiking, even not on a mountaintop. Some people prefer it because, you know, it's a lot cooler. There's no snakes, no insects. But yeah, we've even done some snowy hikes.
Cool. What about for people that are not, like, if they're elder or physically challenged? Do you do hikes like that? Or
we do all the time. So yeah, that's kind of another one of our specialties, is because we have all of this knowledge and easy access thanks to the Blue Ridge Parkway and these wonderful road systems in our national forest. Like, we have roadside waterfalls and roadside panoramic vistas. So you can do relatively little hiking and still get this really engaging and beautiful experience.
That's awesome. And, you know, Karen, I want to go back to you at the inn at you know, the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, because I know you see all ages too. But I think every time we've been there, and remember when Nancy and I ran the inn for a couple times just to, like, do an adventure there, most people that were there wasn't, I'm going to say 90% of the people over the time we've, you know, visited and met people at the inn, they always put in some kind of outdoor activity. Maybe it's the people you're, you know, bringing in because, you know, you're nature people. But it seems that, like, I've seen all age groups that you're in. I mean, from 20s to 80s, hiking or doing something outdoors. That's pretty amazing. Absolutely. And is that, am I pretty dead on with that number? I mean, you guys are there every day. So.
Yeah, majority are here, definitely doing some kind of outdoors thing while they're here. It's not all about Biltmore like it used to be. I mean, Biltmore is wonderful, but it's not everybody's main reason to visit now.
Oh, wow. So it's changing up. So I think
Mhm.
people want
Hmm.
the outdoors and understand it. Jenny, have you seen more of a change too over the years of people wanting more outdoor stuff?
Especially since COVID. So our business grew that late summer and fall after COVID, um, almost 50%. And,
Wow.
we've at least doubled in size since then. Yeah. So COVID really
Wow.
helped people discover or rediscover the
Mhm.
outdoors.
Mm.
Um,
And now
and
I
yeah,
think
this
it's good.
area. Hmm.
I'm just going to say, I don't mean to interrupt,
Yeah.
but I think it's good that they're doing guided hikes so they understand, right? You know what I
Yeah.
Mhm.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, not only do you have hiking, but around here you have mountain biking, rock climbing, rafting,
Yeah.
zip lining, yeah, etc.
Mhm. Lots of
But
fun
I think
activities.
if you're going a guided hike, it teaches you how to be a better hiker, how to look at things and observe. And
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
that part. Yeah, to slow down, look at
Mhm.
this plant. What is this plant that you're just walking by? Maybe there's a mushroom over here. Look,
Right.
oh my gosh, there's this butterfly. What's this butterfly? How long is it going to live for?
Yeah.
All those amazing things, and you guys have such a biodiverse is like an understatement of this area. So
Mm.
for those who love
Hmm.
hiking, there's something for everyone, right, Jenny? Something for everyone
Oh, yeah.
for this.
There is. We
Uh,
even take out some locals sometimes because a local will have all their family in town, and so they want like a easy
Mhm.
guided experience. And the locals like, wow, I learned so much. I'm so
Yeah,
glad
because
I'm
they
doing
just
this.
moved
And
here and they're like, holy cow, I don't know my backyard. better
yeah,
Mhm.
impress
yeah,
my mom
yeah.
and dad, better impress my
Uh-huh.
high school
Yeah.
friends. Yeah, yeah. No, that's so cool though, because, well, why? I think that's really important. If you're moving somewhere
Hmm.
or you're local, go on a guided hike and know your area. And then from there, I think it's like that springboard. I'm a huge fan. We talk about this on shows all the time. Like, go for a guided tour in some capacity when you go to a new place just to get a feel for it. Like the trolley tours you guys
Hmm.
have in Asheville, go on a
Mhm.
trolley tour,
Hmm.
go on a guided
Yep.
Hmm.
hike. You want to go do something after
Mhm.
that, go, and you've got some semblance of the area. You have some understanding, some respect. You get like, oh, I really like
Right.
this. This is what I want to cover. I want to, do when I cover journalist side here. This is what I want to do while I'm there. These, kind of tours really help you understand what you want to, get out of your vacation. And then from there, you
Mhm.
can expand forward. But I think
Hmm.
you guys do group tours, you do corporate tours, you do like, I think
Hmm.
now, I mean, are you seeing more wedding kind of tours? Because I think the wedding, you know, like I'm trying to get the right term here. Uh-oh, bride. I want to say the
The
bride
wedding,
thing, but I don't want to say it.
the,
Help me with the bride thing. I don't want to
the,
say that
the
one term. I'm
bachelorette.
not.
That's
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to say the other
okay.
kind of party, but yeah, right. Whoa, I've got to. I'm watching it. The bachelorette and even the bachelor
Hmm.
parties. Are
Hmm.
those getting to change to being more like let's go on an adventure instead of get drunk at a
Yeah.
strip bar?
Yeah, we've already taken out some bachelorette groups this spring, and granted, they are sometimes hungover, so we just
Then they need a
slow
hike.
down on the
What's
windy
the
road.
best. Yeah, here, have a
Oh boy, yeah, the
mimosa
windy
and
roads.
yeah, here, yeah, really, here, mimosa, have a mimosa, hair, hair of the dog at this
Uh-huh.
waterfall number one,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but
Right.
do you
Yeah.
see them try to have a better experience than just the nightclub thing? Like,
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And wedding parties. We're taking out a huge wedding party next Saturday.
cool.
And I just applaud them for
Cool.
getting their whole wedding group out.
Holy
um,
cow.
Yeah.
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 So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that's
And
awesome.
we do, we do the charter bus thing where the guides will hop on the bus and interpret while on the bus. But then once we get to our hiking destination, like I said, we subdivide that larger group, and so that each guide has only about 15 guests. And then we stagger the timing on the trail so that everybody feels like they're just in this tiny little tour.
Oh, I love
Mhm.
that. I love that because
Mhm.
Mhm.
I hate to be the person who slows everyone down. And I do because I just want to photograph and look at every little thing. I'm annoying. on that. I'm not, I'm one of the annoying people. I would like the guide to stand with me at every little stop and say, like, tell me everything while I photograph, not look at the guide while they're talking to me because I'm photographing and looking at it. You know, it's annoying.
Right.
But that could slow a group down, right? But if you can stagger it, that's awesome. So very cool. Love what you're doing. Okay. So Karen, before we go, what's happening? I know you've got some packages coming up for June.
Yes, so our two featured partners will be Asheville Hiking Tours and Wakefoot Sanctuary. So, of course, if you want to do a hike, you need to go out with Asheville Hiking Tours. And then when you're done and you need to pamper yourself, you need to go get a foot soaking massage at Wakefoot Sanctuary.
I like this. I like this. So everyone go to lion-rose.com. But Steve's there with a beer for you, right, Steve? And a beer mosa.
I'll give you a cold one once you get back from your hike.
Yeah. Now, wait a minute. What about the beer mosa? Does that have to stay on a Sunday? The beer mosa is good. Like if you're at a wedding,
we normally do Sunday, but it could be any time. But we typically do it Sunday morning.
She's trying to tell me, like, stop it, Lisa. Don't say this on a podcast. but the beer mosa is very helpful on a Sunday morning. I'm just saying, everybody, even if you don't think you like beer, how many people I've seen at the table say, like, I don't like beer, but I'll try it. And then next thing you know, I mean, I'm seeing ladies go, ooh, I'm liking this. I'm like, that's right. It's good. It's good. And a little vitamin C. You got the vitamins of the beer ski. You know, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So, everyone, lion-rose.com and then go to AshevilleHikingTours.com. Jenny, I hope we get to meet you at some point. I want to go on a hike, and I promise not to be a pain in the butt, but I will slow you down.
Absolutely.
I want to see everything. I want to talk to the mushrooms. Dude, there's those little red ones. You have all these little red ones and orange ones and all kinds of good ones out here. So it's exciting. But everyone, we're here every first Tuesday. Thank you for joining us on Big Blend Radio. Take care. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's Adventures in Asheville show. Learn more about the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast, which is located in the historic Montford district of Asheville, North Carolina. Go to lion-rose.com. You can keep up with our Big Blend Radio shows at bigblendradio.com.